Donald Trump discussed his views when it comes to global warming, and he had some really outlandish things to say. So go ahead and have a listen, and we'll come back and discuss it.
Do you believe that the temperature of the Earth is increasing, and what would you do if you do believe that vis-a-vis global climate change?
Well, first of all, I'm not a believer in global warming. I'm not a believer in man-made global warming. It could be warming, and it's going to start to cool at some point. And, you know, in the 1920s, people talked about global cooling. I don't know if you know that or not. They thought the Earth was cooling. Now it's global warming. And actually, we've had times where the weather wasn't working out, so they changed it to extreme weather, and they have all different names, you know, so that it fits the bill. But the problem we have, if you look at, you know, our energy costs and all of the things that we're doing to solve a problem that I don't think in any major fashion exists. I mean, Obama thinks it's the number one problem of the world today, and I think it's very low on the list. So I am not a believer, and I will, unless somebody can prove something to me, I believe there's weather, I believe there's change, and I believe it goes up, and it goes down, and it goes up again, and it changes depending on years and centuries. But I am not a believer, and we have much bigger problems.
All right, so I want to quote some of the things that he said. He says, "We've had times when the weather wasn't working out, so they changed it to a different name, all kinds of names." Now, he also says, "I don't believe in global warming," and then he goes on to say, less than 1 minute later, "Obama thinks it's the number one problem of the world, but I think it's very low on the list." Now, this is a contradiction because he just said that he doesn't even believe in global warming, but still, it's on his list of global problems. So wouldn't it be completely off your list, not on the bottom of the list, if you don't believe in it? So I mean, these types of contradictions are very common when it comes to the GOP candidates, especially with respect to global warming. Now, hands down, my favorite part, I'm sure you guys laughed at it, is when he said, "I believe there's weather. I believe there's change. I believe it goes up. I believe it goes down. And then it goes back up again." Oh, well, I mean, look, he believes in weather. Thank God. You know, I thought he was going to deny weather too. But how progressive of him, you know? He's taken a really strong stance. He believes in weather, so clearly he is erring on the side of caution and accepting what scientists have to say about weather. Look, it's Donald Trump, the female Sarah Palin, so I don't feel surprised when I hear these types of things, but I still don't not laugh at them because it's ridiculous. So now look, there's one thing that I want to get to that I think is relatively substantive. Now, you hear this all the time about Republicans. They talk about global cooling. Donald Trump did as well. Now, what do they mean? They'll tell you, look at the data. You see that there is global cooling. It's happening all the time. So here's a chart, for example. Now, when you look at the aggregate trend, well, obviously it indicates that temperatures are rising. But you can mislead people very easily by taking just one section of that chart and misleading them. So if you pull out 1998 to 2000, for example, what do you see? You see a sharp drop in temperatures. So it looks like, what do you know, global cooling. But now when you zoom back out and you look at the bigger picture, clearly you'll see that the overall trend is that temperatures are getting more and more warm. They are continuing to rise every year. We just had the hottest summer on record. So yeah, it is a fact that we are experiencing higher temperatures. To, you know, section off just one portion of a trend line and try to fit your agenda to say, look, there's global cooling. I don't even have to tell you guys how misleading it is, but this is what all of the Republican candidates do. This is what the so-called scientists that are hired by big oil do. They will say, look at these trends. You see all these global cooling periods, you know, another one? Before 1985, from 1984 to 1985. You see another one again from 1993 to 1994. Look at all these global cooling years that we have. But, you know, that's not the whole picture. So, yeah, again, I'm not surprised by it, but I wanted to talk about it because I had to highlight the just absurdity that is Donald Trump. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, he believes in weather. This is the current leader in the Republican presidential primaries. The leader. I can't say it enough. How crazy is that?